Ever since video games started to get popular in the late 1980s and early 1990s, there have been stories about them causing harm to people and making them ill. Studies have been occurring for the last few decades around if they actually cause harm. So stay tuned to today's video as we discuss whether violent or scary video games can cause heart attacks. First up, studies show that video games can do what to you? It's always been a hot topic amongst those who play games and those who live with people who play games about if they can actually cause harm to you or not. Many kids and adults play video games for upwards of 8 to 10 hours a day, from when they get up to when they go to sleep. Whilst this might not be the worst thing in the world, some have discussed if this is having a negative effect on them and possibly making them ill, mentally and physically. Of course, a bad posture and being close to the screen can cause back issues and eye issues respectively. The games themselves don't seem to be the ones causing any issues, but according to some, they actually are. For decades now, people have discussed how video games are having a negative impact on people by causing them to have heart attacks, mental issues, and even causing school shootings. One of the biggest cases of this was around the video game Doom and its possible link to the Columbine shootings. Of course, nothing was proved about this case as the young teens only played Doom and mapped out their school within the game, and the game itself didn't have any effect on their mental state. However, since then many people have been going on and on about how video games turn people into killers and can possibly change their entire personalities overnight. As games get more and more realistic, these claims are getting bigger and bigger as the same people are talking about how shootings in games are related to real-life attacks. However, if you read into any of these claims, none of them make any sense, and it just shows that there are that many skeptical people out there for it to get mainstream attention. Many studies have been done over the years, including ones talking about how video games cause heart attacks. During one study, it was claimed that 3 participants had heart issues after playing scary games. This is such a huge headline, but when you look deep into it, it makes sense what happened. The 3 children involved all happened to have underlying heart issues, and the game only amplified what they had already, meaning that the game itself wasn't the cause of these heart problems. This is one of the biggest trends in the circled video games, affecting people's trends as a lot of the time the people were already mentally or physically ill, and the game just amplified their condition. Scary video games can cause you to have heart issues or have a higher blood pressure, but they are not the reason for major problems such as heart attacks or failures in the body. The only time the video game can be a cause of a problem is if you already have underlying issues in your body and the game just amplifies this. Playing games for long periods of time also doesn't do much unless you are too close to the screen or have a very bad posture, as these can lead to problems in both the eyes and your back. Again, it's not the video game's fault, it's the player's fault, meaning that the game has no harm on the actual person unless the player is doing something wrong themselves. One of the biggest gaming phenomenons in the last few years has of course been Fortnite, and this was pre-pandemic. Fortnite was massive back in early 2018 and going into 2019 as the game was at the peak of its popularity. It gained mainstream attention and was on every single person's screen. Many young kids were playing Fortnite for around 8 hours a day after school and even before school, sometimes taking days off of school just to play Fortnite during its peak hours. This was where another study was done as 3 children were watched as they experienced Fortnite. The 3 boys were around 10 to 15 years old and all separately lost consciousness during the video game, whilst the Battle Royale hit its peak mid-game. This is usually during the end of a match as things get very tense for the player. However, all 3 of the kids were found to have underlying heart conditions, and this is what happened. A 10-year-old boy fainted but regained consciousness and later at a school experienced cardiac arrest due to ventricular fibrillation, a very dangerous abnormal heart rhythm that may be brought on by a heart attack. He was diagnosed with a rare heart condition caused by a gene mutation. A 15-year-old boy fainted as he was about to win the war game he was playing. He previously had a hole in his heart repaired by surgery. He was diagnosed with ventricular tachycardia, or near cardiac arrest, with a very fast heartbeat of 100 or more beats per minute. That same boy also collapsed again 2 months later while nearly winning the video game he was playing. He received treatment and his heart rhythm was restored. An 11-year-old boy collapsed after having heart palpitations while playing a video game. He was later diagnosed with long QT syndrome, which causes irregular heartbeats. Electronic games have been shown to significantly increase the heart rate of participants. The Australian researchers wrote, mental stress and heightened emotion have been shown to shorten the ventricular action potential and are known triggers for cardiac arrhythmia, particularly particularly in long QT syndrome. Of course, none of this isn't to say that someone isn't likely to get a heart attack from playing a scary video game, but just casually looking at this research, you can tell that it's not just because of the game, it will be because of the underlying conditions. Violent video games do increase stress levels with many demographics, especially in teenage girls, but it doesn't necessarily cause them to be violent or have heart attacks. This will only happen if underlying conditions are already there, so just mental issues or of course heart problems. This is especially true as video games get more realistic as VR is being introduced to more audiences. On the other side of this, there's a question proposed. Do video games have positive impacts on your health? Well, in fact, they can do, especially depending on the game you are playing. First-person shooter players are usually very good at their games, and playing them constantly actually improves a lot of skills within a person. From increased cognitive abilities to better hand-eye coordination, players of puzzle games might have better problem-solving skills and have a better grasp on logic within real life. Another thing is social activity, as more people are playing online with friends that they might not have met otherwise. They are becoming social butterflies online and offline. Skills they grasp apply in real life as well. Video games are overall affecting a lot of people's lives in a positive and slightly a negative way, depending on the person. Again, just to hammer this home, a lot of the time it's the player's fault or they already have underlying conditions. There have been no cases where video games themselves have a complete change in someone's character or completely cause their body to change for the bad. The bottom line of all of this is that even though video games are violent, scary, and often intense with action experiences, they do have the potential of raising stress and even adrenaline levels in players. Players who are playing games for multiple hours on end definitely see issues as they might have wrist, back, and eye problems later down the line. But this can all be solved with simple changes to the player's lifestyle. It's not like these games themselves are deteriorating the player, it's all up to them and how they choose to play the game. Addictive games like the Battle Royale genre can't be the sole reason for your back problems or your eye issues. It's all down to you and how you sit at your desk or how close you sit to your television. At the end of the day, you can also contact the doctor to talk about issues like this and try to figure out the best course of action. If video games are a massive part of your life, you might want to change yourself for the better and make sure you can play for as long as possible. It's not like some video game is going to cause you to heart out of nowhere if you have no heart conditions, so make sure you know your body before you take part in these experiences. But what do you think about these studies? Please let us know your experiences with video games down below, and also tell us if you believe in this study or not. And that's the end of today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed this latest video. If you did, would you please let us know down in the comment section below? It would be very helpful. Make sure to like the video, comment down below, and of course subscribe to the channel with the notification bell rung. Thank you for watching today's video.